What's up YouTube? In this video I want to show you how to do better damage on the Stone Guard's heroic 10-man boss fight and parse better. First thing I want to talk about is strats. So my group always does the 2 bosses strat, so we never have them stacked in 3. Chances are you're never going to get like a top 1% parse or obviously 100% parse either, because if you're not stacking the bosses it's going to be almost impossible because you're only hitting 2 bosses versus 3. I was able to parse a 96 on this, which put me rank 94, which is pretty good in my opinion for the 2 boss strat. So no excuses in the chat. For the 2 boss strat, these are going to be your talents. You can use From Darkness Comes Light or Solace and Insanity. Both of them are going to give you good outcomes. But just keep in mind that during the execute phase, so 20% and below, Solace and Insanity is a little hard to get any uptime out of your Empowered Mind Flay just because you're generating so many shadow orbs. So I would recommend just go From Darkness Comes Light. It's a little easier to keep up with. But don't worry, if you prefer one over the other, they're both found in all the top logs, so you can get good results with both talents. Here is the glyphs you're going to want to take. The only one I'd say here is flexible, is you can swap out either Fade or Mind Spike for the glyph of Dispersion. The only reason you would do this is to just help soak a little bit more of the blue crystals. But this video is about parsing and doing more damage, so that's kind of contradictory. Just keep in mind if your raid needs the help with that, it might be worth taking. And if you use your dispersion the proper way with the cancel aura dispersion macro, you lose like 1 global cooldown, that's it, so it's not bad. On 2 seconds, you're going to pop your Potion and Halo into your Mind Spike and Shadow Fiend, and then you want to weave in your G91 Landshark right there, and then you just want to get your Devouring Plague up as soon as possible so that you can generate more Shadow Orbs with your Mind Blast, and then get your dots rolling, and then from here on, you're just going to follow the priority. You're mainly focusing on keeping Mind Blast on cooldown as like your #1 priority. Number 2 is to keep your dots up. However, this being said, if your dots are going to fall off for more than 1 second, the priority should be to refresh those first. What you can do for this to try to make it a little more simple is just try to time your Mind Blast global cooldown so that when it comes off cooldown, you don't need to refresh your dots. So if that means refreshing your dots a little bit early, then do that. And then third is making sure your Mind Spike procs never overcap. So you can have 2 charges of these, but you never ever want to overcap these. So what I mean by that is as soon as you get 2, ideally you want to consume it instantly, just because in that next second or 2 you can generate another one, which will be a wasted stack. So as soon as you get 2, consume it instantly. Even if your Mind Blast is just coming off cooldown, your movement and positioning, so obviously you want to have the least amount of movement as possible, and then you want to be at a perfect range so your Halo does maximum damage. And obviously if your group has you painting, they hate you and they don't want you to parse because Shadow Priest has terrible movement compared to lots of other DPS specs, so tell your raid leader to pound sand. With your Halo and your Vampiric Embrace, you're going to want to try to snipe low health raid members early on. This is because you can proc your Twist of Fate off of this, so potentially like lots of times with your Halo, if you maybe delay it a second, if you know some raid mechanic's going to go off, you might be able to snipe a raid member that's below 35% health, which will proc your Twist of Fate for 15 seconds, which will allow you to snapshot all your dots and just have a 15% damage increase. I only recommend holding Halo for this if you absolutely know that you're going to be able to proc the buff. Otherwise, it's better to just use it on cooldown, and then with Vampiric Embrace, obviously you can tell when the raid's slow, so just pop it then. And then your execute phase. So I'm just going to put on screen here the priority. It's going to be similar to what I talked about earlier. It's just going to slightly change because of the execute phase. And make sure to always save your second pot for execute phase because you'll have Twist of Fate rolling and then also Shadow Word Death. So save your second pot for 20%, and ideally you don't just want to pop it right at 20%. you want to pop it when all your trinkets are rolling as well. So I don't know, give it 5 or 10 seconds, and if you're not seeing any procs at that point, I would probably just use it because the boss will probably be dead before your other trinkets proc. That's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you'd like if I did this for the rest of Mogushan Vaults, Heart of Fear, and also Terrace of Endless Spring. Peace.